All right, Science Fam, we're going to be doing some English or imperial unit conversions. So if you look up at the top, we have all our conversions available right up here. The first thing is we have to figure out what we're starting with and where we're headed, and then have a game plan. So to start with, for number 9, I have 2,500 quarts, and I want to know how many pints that is. So I am going to convert from quarts to pints. And to do that, I see that there's 2 pints for every 1 quart. So sometimes you know and say, oh, well, you just got to multiply or divide by 2. But sometimes it gets confusing. So that's why canceling out units and using something called dimensional analysis can be really helpful. So let me show you how to do that. You always start by writing what you have. So we have 25 quarts. And since I want to get rid of quarts and convert to pints, I'm going to put quarts on the bottom and pints on top. Now, what numbers do I use? Just look right up here. For every 2 pints, there's 1 quart. Now, why does this work out? Well, I put quarts on the bottom so that it would cancel out, and I put pints up on top because that's the unit I'm looking for. So this becomes 2,500 times 2 divided by 1. All right? Again, you always take the number 2,500, you multiply by the top, which is 2, and you divide by the bottom, which is 1. So that's 2,500 times 2 divided by 1. And what does that end up being? That ends up being 5,000 pints. And that's what your answer is. Again, some of you might think, well, that was a lot of work to just multiply by 2. You're right, it is a little extra work, but it is nice knowing that, yes, I definitely canceled out quarts and I'm left in the units I'm trying to get. And for that, that creates a peace of mind. Plus, when conversions get a little bit more complex or multiple steps, this way is going to help you out in the long run. So it's good to practice now with straightforward ones, because when we get to more in-depth, more stepped ones, that's going to be helpful. All right? So that was number 9. Let's look at number 10. I have 50,000 cups, and I want to know how many quarts that is. Well, from my conversions, I know there's 4 cups in a quart. So you might think, well, do I have to multiply by 4 or divide by 4? Well, let's use our units to help us out. If I have 50,000 cups and I want to get rid of cups and go to quarts, I need to put cups on the bottom so that they cancel, and I'm going to put quarts on top because that's what I'm trying to solve for. Again, when you put cups on the bottom, remember, those units will cancel out, and that's why it's important to put cups on the bottom. But let's make sure we use our proper numbers. There's 4 cups for every 1 quart. Now that cups cancel out and you're left with quarts for your units, your conversion looks like it's going to work out. Again, remember, you always take the first number, multiply it by the top, and divide by the bottom. So that means you're going to do 50,000 times 1, because that's on top, divided by 4, because that's on the bottom. All right? So 50,000 times 1 divided by 4 ends up getting you an answer of 12,500 quarts. All right? Again, the canceling out of units is going to help make sure that you're feeling comfortable with the answer and that, yes, you did properly divide instead of multiply. All right? Now, number 11 is actually going to be a multiple step one. So let's take a look at that. You have 8,972 tablespoons, and you want to know how many quarts that is. Here's the problem, though. For tablespoons, I know how many that goes into a cup, but unfortunately, I don't know how many tablespoons goes into a quart. I do know, though, that if I convert to cups, I can then take my cups and convert to quarts. So it looks like I'm going to have a multiple step problem. It looks like I'm going to start in tablespoons. I'm then going to convert to cups. Then once I'm in cups, I can convert to quarts. So it looks like it's going to be a 2-step problem, a part A and a part B. All right, so let's see how that would work. Let's do it all in one swoop, but first let's start with what we're given. I've got 8,972 tablespoons. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I want to get rid of tablespoons and go to cups. So I'm going to put tablespoons on the bottom and cups on top. All right, looking at my conversion, there's 16 tablespoons in 1 cup. So I'm going to put 16 down here for every 1 cup. All right, step 1 is complete. Now I need to go from cups to quarts. So to do that, I want to get rid of cups and I want to end up with quarts on top. And cups and quarts, there's 4 cups for every 1 quart. So I'm going to do 4 cups for every 1 quart. Now why does this work out? Well, tablespoons got canceled out, cups got canceled out, and now I'm left in units of quarts. So now that I have that, I'm just going to do my math to 8,972 times 1 divided by 16 times 1 divided by 4. Remember, we always multiply by the top numbers, divide by the bottom numbers. So that ends up being 8,972 times 1 divided by 16 times 1 divided by 4. And now I'm starting to run out of room a little bit, but when you crank that through your calculator and do 8,972 times 1 divided by 16 times 1 divided by 4, you end up getting about 140.19 quarts for your answer. All right, so quite a bit of steps there. All right, but you were just using your conversion factors like you already had, and you were going from one unit to the next, and ending up with the unit you wanted. All right, so hopefully that was a good little tutorial and gave you a little extra practice. When you try one of the last problems, number 14, there's going to be quite a few steps. See if you can get in the mindset of going from one to the other so that you end up in the units you're looking for. All right, good luck, science family, and this is a great start to knowing how to convert in the imperial or English style. Take care.